Give me just a moment, folks.
Was ist unser Leben wert, wenn allein regiert das Schwert und die ganze Welt zerfällt in toten Sand? Aber das wird nicht geschehen, denn wir wollen nicht untergehen, und so rufen wir durch unser deutsches Land. Go home, Ami, Ami, go home. Spalte für den Frieden dein Atom. Sag du bei dem Vater rein, rühr nicht an sein Töchterlein. Lorelei, solang du singst, wird Deutschland sein. Aus USA sind für die Etappe da, wollen die German Boys verrecken in dem Sand. Doch sind hier die Waffen kalt, doch der Friede wird nicht bald, hält nicht jeder schützend über ihn die Hand. Go home, Ami, Ami, go home. Spalte für den Frieden dein Atom. Sag uns bei der Vater rein, rühr nicht an sein Töchterlein. Lorelei, solang du singst, wird Deutschland sein. Sitzt und kämmt ihr goldenes Haar. Wer den Kamm hier bricht in zwei, bricht sich selbst das Knick dabei. Uralt ist das Märchen, traurig aber wahr. Go home, Ami, Ami, go home. Lass in Ruhe den deutschen Strom. Denn für deinen Way of Life kriegst du uns ja doch nicht rein. Grüß von euch, ein Bon Plaisir, der Kamm bleibt hier.
Alrighty, what is going on? That looks like I scared. Oh, you know what? Whatever. It's okay. It's all right. So let's go ahead. I want to start with Entertainmart for a minute. Hold on. You know what? Let me see if I can find Entertainmart here. Any videos on Entertainmart I can find. Let me see here. I don't think there are. Let me see. Let me make sure there are no videos I can find about Entertainmart at all. They keep talking about this local shit. Hold on. Let me see if I can check one more time because I want to cover this. And it wouldn't let me download the damn video. I'm like, what? Why won't y'all let me show the... Okay, you know what? This is all right. You know, I'm just going to show this local yokel station here. I'm going to go ahead and show this here right quick. And this is something that, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get into it. I'm not even going to waste that much time. I'm going to go ahead and let the video speak for itself. And then I'm going to comment on it. Comment about the bigger issues. So let's go ahead and look at this right quick. Hold on. Oh yeah. Folk music gang, where you at? Sorry, I'm just looking. Excuse me. Sorry. It's 528 until 528 until Lula becomes president of Brazil. U.S. empire going to see so hard. Oh man, word. Damn. Uh-oh. Phone's going off somewhere. I hear that static. All right. There's no Maupin Unruh split. Okay. We may watch that. Let's see here. AVE. Oh, yeah, he's a cool dude. Dr. Fauci lies. Don't worry. I'm going to watch this later. Don't worry. Okay. So let's go ahead and watch this local yokel video. What's going on, No More Libs? Don't worry. We're going to read some Parenti. I did get your message. So we will be reading some Parenti a little bit later. I just want to cover this issue right quick. This is kind of talks. This is more of a middle class sort of boomer issue. Let's go ahead and cover this right quick.
For those of you who missed the old Hastings Entertainment Store, you are in luck.
Entertainmart opened its doors today. The store is located at the old Hancock Fabrics location on Southwest Parkway over there by Hobby Lobby. It sells new and used books, movies, video games, musical instruments. Will also have a cafe. Owner of Maniacs Mansion,
cafe.
Marcus McGee, is just one of many people who are excited that it's open.
It's like I thought my place, man, Mansion was awesome. No, Credit Mart. Go there. It's so sick, man. They have like everything. It's just like Hastings came back from the dead or something.
Right on. It's sick too. I love you, Marcus. They'll be open from 10 to 9 Monday through Thursday, 10 to 10 on Friday and Saturday, and we'll open at Sundays, close at 7 p.m.
Cool.
Going to be great. Can't wait to get in there.
Okay. So the reason I want to show that is just to explain kind of the Boo's wet dream. It really is, yeah. The thing is that this kind of shows how desperate people get. And I'm going to try to be succinct about this here and trying to be somewhat clever, but you know, there's a lot of millennials, me included, who are kind of hurting because of the economy and everything. And the thing is, they buy up stuff. So their business model is basically you bring them old video game sets or video game consoles. You can bring in, you know, like they got like Super Nintendo. And this isn't me trying to big them up. It's not even that. This is just me kind of explaining how boomer shit works right now and how boomers and millennials, how this works. A lot of millennials, such as me, are selling stuff to this place so we can make some extra money, right? So this is something that, you know, has to be brought up, is that I said this in the video too, but I want to kind of explain it more. And kind of explains to you how things are worth, right? I don't know how much stuff this dude brought in, but this dude brought in like all these video games and stuff like that. He was a little bit ahead of me. He got $93 back. I mean, he probably spent, however much money, maybe $200, $300 originally. And he got $93 back from them. Now, for me, I brought in like maybe 10 books or something like that, and I got $2.10. You know, I'm just kicking myself like, damn, if I had saved a PS2 or an N64, I maybe have some more money in my pocket right now, you know? It's better than going down and trying to sell some Coke cans or something like that, you know, and get maybe $2 or $3, right? You know what I mean? I mean, you think about that, right? That's the way these things go, isn't it? But I mean, it is a boomer sort of thing, right? This is keeping up the boomer sort of lifestyle. It just shows how desperate the American system is. That you know, there's no longer a Hastings, there's no Blockbuster anymore. People go on Netflix, people go on YouTube and can watch movies for free. You can see plenty of these free MGM movies, right? You can watch A Bridge Too Far for free on YouTube. You can watch The Longest Day on, you know, never selling old PS2 if I don't have to. Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying is that this goes to show how desperate people are, you know? Is it, yeah, I mean, you could do things illegally and whatnot. It's like, yeah, I mean, the illegal thing is just like, you know, people will rob stuff and whatnot, you know, chill for a couple of days, and then you go to, you go to the pawn store. You go to the pawn store, right? You go to the pawn shop. So, you know, you find somebody's garage is open, you find some old boomer's garage, and you take a drill or something like that, right? And you may make $50 on it, say. Now, the thing is, of course, is that they check your ID. Same thing in places like this. So if you rob a place, you know, they're going to check your ID. It's the same type of thing. If you go try to sell cans or something like that, they have to check your ID. That way, if it shows that, yo, this dude took this, this, and this, and they got an inventory of it, all the cops have to do is go up to the place, be like, you know, check the pawn shops, check these places, and then they're going to be like, oh, yeah, this person came in and sold such. You know, and then you busted, right? But this is the way it works, you know. I'm just saying it's a double type of thing, yeah. I just got a Super Nintendo and games building dust. But I got a Tenkaichi 3 on PS2, and I'll never sell. There you go. Yeah. Like I say, I mean, that I'm showing my age by saying that, but it's like, you know, that's how it goes with some of these things. You know, Entertainmart, you know, is one of those things where it's trying to keep the American dream going. It's trying to keep the boomerism alive, you know, where you can get all these old movies and stuff like that on DVD, and they got all like the cheap stuff. They even got a few like, you know, VHS tapes as well, you know, just to make money. They got CDs and whatnot, all these books. But it goes to show just how cannibalistic this system is, you know? It's the same thing if you like, you know, you could give stuff away to, oh, I'm 33, you good? Oh, okay, cool. But it's like, you see that, it's the same thing with like Goodwill. It's like if you don't want anything, you can just go to Goodwill. That's the whole thing about that song Thrift Shop that Macklemore did. I'm gonna pop some tags. I got $20 in my pocket and all that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But it's like that goes to show how the system is, and goes to show, these alternatives and whatnot that a lot of folks don't talk about and how people are living, But I'm giving that as an example. That's all. I'm giving that as an example, So that was my brief rant talking about that. VHF haven't seen in a while. Yeah, my parents have a couple. There's a couple. We got one of these VHS DVD players, and that does both. So it's got two heads on it. But yeah, oh man. But yeah, so I just want to cover that for a minute. But okay, let me go ahead and make sure here. Let's be democratic about it. Okay, press 1 if you want me to cover. If we want to watch just a little bit, we're not going to watch every minute of the Richard Wolff Destiny debate. Or press 2 if you want me to move on to something else. I'll give it a minute. Don't worry. Yeah, VH gang represent. Yeah. But I'll go ahead and wait. It's all good. One Venezuela. Okay. Vuvu. Okay, yeah. I was the last generation VHS. RIP. Yeah, one. Okay. Okay, we got some Venezuela. Y'all want to talk about Venezuela a little bit? We can talk about Venezuela. we can. Okay. We'll watch a little bit of it. We won't watch every minute of it because I found the shorter version. This is from the Surfs, but we'll watch a little bit of it and then we'll move on. How about that? Yeah. I heard Destiny does the Vuvuzela meme in the debate. Okay, that's not okay. Cool. All right. Let me see here. Hold on. Let me open the door so the cat can get out. Hold on. And the cat can open the door, but let's see. Okay, hold on. You want to get out? All right. There you go. Go ahead. She's home? Okay. Okay. I think I got some help, but I'm going to go ahead and let this debate play. All right, go ahead.
They do not separate out their managers. They do not separate one group of workers with high pay from others. That's a hustle. That would be a hustle. You're asserting that about the argument is so difficult that you have to make up the information to support it. Too bad.
My argument is so concrete that I don't think I've had to bring up futile time to make any of my points or ask you any
that would make your analysis a little richer than it is.
So, something.
Okay, welcome, guys, gals, and empaths as the biggest event in the history of Eternally Online. The great debate will shortly commence between two titans in their respective fields. We'd like to first and foremost thank, as well as Economic Update for helping us schedule and book the good professor, and Destiny and his community for participating as well. We'd also like to thank the Rational National, who is hosting the event on YouTube platform, and finally politics.gg Discord, where they are hosting the debate because the internet is constantly trying to out-meta itself. The rules are very simple. Both participants approach this conversation in the best of faith. We'll be giving 3-minute opening statements in which they will both give defense of their arguments. This will be followed by a girthy hour-long open forum, followed by a 20 to 30-minute audience Q&A, and finally closing statements. If you'd like to participate in any point in the audience Q&A, please head over to twitch.tv/thesurfstv, hit !debate in the chat. There will be a link to a form you can fill out that will be made available. While donations are always appreciated, please be aware donating does not mean that your questions will be read. Participating in the Q&A is going through the Google Doc form that we have provided. Finally, we will ask that everyone in everyone's respective chats please avoid the use of anything that would either violate service, keep the discussion to being as productive and as lightning as only the internet knows how to do. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's competitors. Arguing in favor of socialism is Richard Wolff of Economics, who's previously taught at Yale and is also the host of Economic Update as well as Democracy at Work. He's authored several books on both Marxism and socialism, as well as a recent one covering the COVID epidemic called The System. Arguing in favor of capitalism is Stephen Bunnell II, known under the pseudonym Destiny. He began as a professional StarCraft 2 player and went on to revolutionize politics on the streaming platform. He's gone on to debate many of the largest public figures on both the right and the left corners of the political spectrum. Recently, he's become involved in campaigning for local politicians, and while detractors on both sides of them, either a communist or a fascist, he prefers the moniker as the omni-liberal. Both contestants prefer he/him pronouns. Thank you so much for joining us. Without further ado, since he's already to the current paradigm, we will begin with you, Professor Richard Wolff.
Okay, in the 3 minutes I have, I cannot speak as fast as you just did, so I won't even try. I'll try to make a couple of basic points. Every economic system in the history of the world displays the following pattern. It is born, it evolves over time, and then it dies and passes away, giving way to another one. And part of that process has always been the conviction of the people in each economic system that sooner they can, they should, and they will do better, overcome some of the problems and difficulties they're facing, as a system that better meets human needs. The process is sometimes relatively smooth, other times it's rocky. It varies with the conditions and particularly with the level of resistance from those who don't want to see the system change.
Okay, everybody, sorry for that. About that.
Capitalism, in my judgment, has been born, most would agree, has evolved over the last 3 centuries or so.
Let's see here. Third time watching this? Okay, yeah. Remember that Wolff is the ideological grandfather of all these Radlib kids. It's a good thing that they think he lost, because now they might drop the fake socialist stuff. Yeah, I saw Vosh was shitting all over him. Yeah, Richard Wolff. Like I said, I think Richard Wolff is, I'm glad to see that people, are calling Richard Wolff out for the old man that he is,
And is now at that stage. The only question now is exactly how and when the passing occurs. In my judgment, the yearning for something better has built up in capitalism to a pretty intense level. Whether you look at the debts of students, whether you look at the mind-bending inequality that this system generates over and over again, unless and until it is revolted against by masses of people who do something about the inequality, or that as long as capitalism remains, the tendency to inequality resumes. I think people are also tired of the inequality. Every 4 to 7 years, capitalism crashes. We've had 3 in this new century in its 20 years, right on schedule, every 4 to 7 years. Millions lose their jobs, businesses go belly up, cities and towns can't get the revenue they need, the services we depend on. One sign of the exhaustion of this system, a level of money creation, a level of debt creation we have never seen. Government debt, corporate debt, personal debt. The system is exhausted, and the entire private enterprise system is now on 24/7 government life support. I think it's over. I think that's difficult for us all to live through. And we better learn some lessons from the British Empire, from which they have been tumbling for a century. We could ensure on the downswing than the British have been able to. And the more we talk about it and discuss it and explore it, the better chances to make another progressive transition to a better system that we all need and will benefit from.
Okay, Destiny?
Oof, are you keeping us on a timer?
I am.
All right.
All right, sorry about that. Dinner just
As of
came.
March 2021, Americans' economy, job markets, the handling of the coronavirus, and leadership in Washington is the four most important challenges facing our country. Socialist policies would not alleviate any of these concerns. Socialist experiment, time and time again, this has failed. Doctors in Cuba moonlight as taxi drivers. Countries with socialized healthcare haven't fared much better than the U.S. in their handling of the coronavirus. And any socialist regime will necessarily
Don't tell them about China.
involve the bureaucracy of Washington even more heavily in our economy. Any country that has attempted to realize a fully socialist economy has either
He's just going to say asshole anyway. Anti-Anglo gang Wolff, yeah. We better learn some lessons from the British Empire openly in the Anglo box, I guess, yeah. Yeah, cooperative with Radlibs, yeah. That is true, yeah. Yeah, that Dinesh, yeah, that guy was old as fuck, yeah. He means by the signs of decay empire. Okay, let's go ahead and hear it.
would fail completely, such as in the case of the USSR, destroyed large swaths of their economy, such as in Venezuela, or been forced to embrace more neoliberal economic policies to realize true growth in their economy, such as in China or Vietnam. Liberal market policies work better in both theory and practice when it comes to efficiently allocating resources to maximizing the economic productivity of any country, time and time again across a wide variety of markets and countries throughout history across the globe. Oftentimes, people like Richard Wolff will bring up the boom-bust cycle as though it's an inherent flaw of capitalism. I believe I speak for most when I say that a boom-bust cycle is preferable to just going bust, as so many socialist countries have. It's also important for us to realize that no economic organization
Richard Wolff
is in and of itself inherently more.
He looks like he's about to lose
rather,
it.
we ought to view them as tools to effect some greater output for our country that we can later utilize and distribute in the most fair manner with government policy to most of our citizens as we see fit, creating a bigger pie, so to speak, from which all of us can eat. Morality and justice should exist in the realm of government policy. We cannot allow it to blind us to the economic realities surrounding us. No matter how much we wish a wild lion not to eat us, our desire alone will never satiate its appetite. While socialism makes sense, the destruction it would wrought on the wealth of our country and the oppressive restrictions it would place on our businesses would not help the vast majority of Americans. It would be foolish to enforce protectionist or socialist policies on our economy while major developing economies such as India and China are moving in the exact opposite direction, having realized time and time again the failures in socialist planning. Socialism implies two major things: change in both the means and mode of production. The means of production change in such a way to completely disallow private investment or ownership, and a change in the mode of production such that we no longer produce goods and services for a profit. Instead, businesses are only started with some governmental body, some kind of central planning, when the equal decision-making and management of every worker and the goods and services produced in any society are what some government body dictates, irrespective of market forces or the wants and desires of the citizens. It's likely in the course of this debate that my opponent will suggest we take after Nordic.
Damn. I think Destiny must snort a line of coke before he does these, huh? I imagine so. Just like, oh yeah, I'm ready. And then just like, okay. You know what I mean?
Countries, citing that things like socialized healthcare or subsidized education are powerful programs that address many of the underserved needs of Americans today. While this is true, I would like to remind everyone that we've spent the government simply
only economies that grow
has
during the Great
absolutely nothing to do with socialism. My opponent believes that strong social safety nets and welfare programs are important parts of the government. Most liberals would welcome him with arms, me included. Consequently, there are 5 major hurdles that no socialist has ever spoken to adequately addressed, and they are as follows. Number 1, what level of violence is acceptable to reach our socialist state? Number 2, how do we decide which businesses are allowed to exist in a socialist society without allowing private capital investment? 3, is any form of investment whatsoever allowed in a socialist society for an expansion of business? 4, how are labor markets determined in a socialist society? And 5, how do we calculate which goods and services a nation needs if we do away with the commodity form? Those are my 5.
Cool. All right, so we're going to do the open format now for the next hour. I don't think I'm going to need to moderate too much as long as both of you just sit.
He's going to probably moderate a lot, huh?
Something and allow the other person to
I haven't
speak
seen this.
Don't talk over each other. It should be fine. So I guess begin now.
Where do you want to start?
Well, can I respond to what was said?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, yeah.
Okay. I find it a caricature of anything I've ever written or anything that I understand is part of this conversation. And
I think it's funny. I think who tells Richard Wolff? I have to say this right up front, but who tells Richard Wolff to debate these guys, man? It's like, it's one thing to debate dipshits like Valuetainment, an Iranian dude who like makes these videos like, hey, capitalism is a great system, man, and all that type of thing. It's one thing to debate dipshits like him. And that's not to say that Destiny isn't a dipshit, absolutely. But it's like, who tells this dude? It's like, yeah, actually, to build your base, you need to debate all of these debate lords on YouTube, you know, or on Twitch. It's like, why? Who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? I'm stuttering here, but it's like, why would you give a shit? You know what I mean? Go ahead. Surf was taking Destiny's side throughout. Wolff was talking for a long time, but he's literally 79. Oh shit, yeah. Destiny's on 2x speed on the Surf channel as well. Yeah, like it's the Surf's are range.
I don't appreciate being told what I think or what I say or what I mean or what I intend. I can speak for myself, and that would just be fine if we could allow each other to do that. Number one.
Oh, please. You have never seen a Destiny debate then, Dr. Wolff. I'm sorry. Come on, man.
Number two, I have no idea what this silly remark that I hear so often is, that no socialist society has succeeded at anything. I have no idea what you're talking about. Let me.
They're going to bring up Vuvuzela. They're going to bring up the Soviet Union. Come on, man. They're going to bring up how China has sold out. They're going to bring up all these arguments. You can't just say, I have no idea. You don't say dumb shit like that and say, yeah, you know what? There have been complications, but guess what? Overall, socialism has succeeded. Do something like that.
Let me give you an example. One of the most important metrics used in the economics profession around the world to assess the quote-unquote success of an economic system is the rate of economic growth.
To be honest, this is a true point, Union Army. Well, yeah. Yeah, neither one of them cared about each other. It's just about clout. It is. I hope not for his own health. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't even call him doctor, but he fanned Destiny's balls by saying he revolutionized political debates. Oh, really? Oh, my goodness.
You measure GDP and you look at how it grows over time. And then you compare one country to another to assess their relative success, not as societies, because that's a vague generality, but at this particular metric, which we use in economics to measure economic growth over time. It's not the only metric, but it's a widely used one. So I'm now using it.
Okay.
In the 20th century, the fastest growing metric, the fastest growing GDP in any country.
Okay. Can we agree that GDP is cringe? Can we all just agree on that? GDP is cringe. Nobody cares about GDP. It's a gay term that only, you know, econo bros use. Nobody cares about this gay shit. Yeah. I watched this debate with Pogan, the Orthodox. What's going on, Red Dindonian? How are you, sir? With Pogan, the Orthodox Marxist, he just didn't know anything about Marxian theory. No. He has no respect. Please give us Sharia instead of this lib shit. Honestly, Sharia does sound better. It honestly does, yeah. All my homies hate GDP. Exactly. GDP is gay. GDP is gay. Nobody cares about it. Yeah. Exactly. GDP is nominal bullshit. Yeah, exactly. Nominal is bullshit. Yeah. Like I say, GDP is ridiculous, you know? It's the same type of shit where it's like people want to talk about, you know, fucking, you know, I'm trying to think of it, but like, you know, standard of living or something like that. It's like, it's all just gay nerd shit, to be honest with you. I know people are going to say that's anti-intellectual.
Was the Soviet Union. And in the 21st century, we're living in, the fastest growing GDP in the world has been the People's Republic of China.
Here we go.
This is not an endorsement of one or another economic system. It's
okay. All right.
Sorry, man.
All right. Well, you get to hear some. All right.
It's a statement of fact verified by any reliable source of information. The UN, the project in the University of California, Berkeley, and others who keep track of this. So this has to be understood because in much of the world, economic growth is a shared objective and goal that these two societies have excelled at achieving. Number one. Number two, when it comes to socialism, it would be useful if we all understood what word means rather than playing around with caricature.
Honestly, Richard Wolff should just go full China boom and be like, China is the greatest fucking country this world has ever known. You should just do that. Just go full China boom, man. Just go full on. Instead of this, I don't agree with everything China does. No, then just go for it. Just go for it, man. You know, be like, 中国好厉害. You know, just go for it, man. Honestly, bro.
For example, the notion that socialism is all about what the government does has been contested throughout the history.
Where they do it off
of
happiness
socialism.
or something else. Oh, okay.
And that idea is less dominant
Take the mop and
within
pill.
the
Oh, yeah.
socialist tradition now than it ever was over the last 150 years. For example, today, one of the most important issues for socialists has to do not with government regulation, not with government owning and operating businesses, not with these bugaboos of bureaucracy and all the rest of it, but has to do with an objective of transforming the organization of production in a factory, in an office, in a store, not to have a small group of people, the owner, the board of directors, the tiny little minority at the top that is a dictatorial power inside an enterprise, making all the key decisions that the employees have to.
I got 2 letters for you, Richard Wolff. AI. Artificial intelligence. Nobody gives a shit. I'll be honest with you. AI.
Live with, even though the minority making those decisions is not accountable to those employees. That's a socialism of transformation at the micro level, about which very little could have been done in the comments preceding these. If we're going to talk about socialism, then we have to talk about what it means to the people pushing for it and urging it. And those people have learned from the 20th and 21st century, just like those who pushed for capitalism 3 centuries ago learned from their early experiments how to refine, how to adjust, and how to change. To pretend that that didn't happen, to trade old and shrinking conceptions of socialism.
If you ever need something to go to sleep by, I mean, listen to this guy. I mean, holy shit, you know. Enjoy unnamed diet beverage. Embrace Caleb Maupin thought. Exactly, yeah. Maybe Wolff will debate infrared. Yeah, right. In fact, Tibet has tried to invade them. Yeah. The thing is, it's so gay with this whole type of shit. You know, it's like mud pencil factory. Oh yeah, he does bring that up, doesn't he? The thing is that he's talking about co-ops as if that's all you can do. It's just like co-ops are just one thing, bro. It's just like the thing is, I wanted to say about Richard Wolff is that he has talked with Hakeem as well, and I didn't watch that whole thing because I was like, it's just kind of silly. But you can tell that he must have a team of folks who are out there. It's like, yeah, bro, we're gonna have Wolff talk with Hakeem. We're gonna have him talk with Destiny. I actually haven't gone to sleep listening to Richard Wolff videos before. Like I say, that's why I don't listen to him. He's boring as fuck, bro. You know.
Maybe good debating ploy, but it doesn't.
And they also cope. They both, it's like people like Richard Wolff will still absolutely cope and seethe about people like Huey Long. They cannot stand the legacy of people like Huey Long, even though he was against the Ku Klux Klan. He didn't promote some sort of racial idea, but because he used government power and because he was a little bit authoritarian, he was a bad guy. He was, they're not going to say he was like Hitler, but they're going to say that he was bad, which is cringe to me. Huey Long is the closest person that we have had to actual socialism. I'm going to say that, and that's going to be actual cringe, but it's like Huey Long came the closest to actual socialism in the United States. Period. I don't care what you say. Please go ahead and tell me I'm wrong, but that's how I feel. Engaging, he fought for books to be printed in Louisiana. Louisiana is still an awful, run state, awfully run. Poverty. Of course, you have the destruction of New Orleans in 2005 with Katrina. You have a state that has been separated. They forced people to stop learning French, and now it's just coming back where you can learn French, because obviously there's a heavy Acadian and Cajun population, and that's their traditional form of French. Probably even different than what is spoken in Quebec, but still, it's like he was fighting against the oil companies. He's fighting against all of these types of folks. And it's like, but you still hate him because you see him as authoritarian. Cope and seethe.
Advance our understanding of anything.
Jim Jones was closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to be easier,
But the thing is, Jim Jones was in the U.S. though. Jim Jones started his stuff somewhere else. Yeah, but but that's a fair point though. That's a fair point. No more libs. Yeah, co-ops are good, but the commanding heights of economy must be under public control and organized in accordance to economy. Yeah. Jonestown's and Democratic Kampuchea, best examples of communism. Changed my mind. Yeah. The first French TV was made recently too in Louisiana. Oh, damn. Word?
Rather than long monologues each, so we can respond to each other more, if you're okay with that.
He's not going
just
to.
for a couple of things you said. So I'm trying to answer this.
I just talk slower than you.
Yeah. He's basically saying, I'm not on speed like you are.
That's fine. It's fine. My understanding is that the 20th century faster growing economy than the USSR, and it was Japan. Japan still exists today, and the USSR does not. I understand that the USSR.
Okay. Let me tell you why that's bad. Okay. He says the whole of the 20th century. Now, does he specify what happened in the 20th century of Japan? Well, you had this thing called World War II, and before that you had blockades of Japan. Okay. So you mean post-1945, where, they were basically given the microchip, and then, of course, they had various management techniques that the United States then, used and then took to this country? Is that what you're referring to when Japan was a higher, GDP country? It's like, yeah, Japan also is in a very bad way. There's a lot of creepy shit in Japan too. So yeah, I mean, there are different standards to measure Japan at. You can't just be like, oh well, my GDP. No, that's gay.
USSR did show a huge amount of growth, but I think it's
Japan stopped growing. Yeah, exactly.
As an example, when socialists often point to the evils of.
Can we just say Japan is gay? Can we just say that Japan is gay? Like I say, sorry for that. Damn, that helicopter's close. Japan is gay. I'm just gonna say it. Had a large amount of state intervention, along with aid injections from the USA. Absolutely. Yeah, wasn't Jim Jones a victim of MK Ultra? He probably was. But yeah, Japan deserved the bombs. Yeah, they do. And Japan, yeah, Japan is cringe. I'm sorry. It's like, I don't think. I mean, and I do have to say this as well. Honkies, white folks. I'm going to say this just to make sure. When folks hear this, white folks, please stop fantasizing over Japan. Okay, please stop fantasizing over these Asian waifus. Okay, can we stop doing that? Can we please stop doing that? Because it's so gay. Yeah, anti-weeb action, absolutely. Can I tell you this once again? Derek Chauvin had an Asian wife, okay? And guess what? As soon as that shit happened, she dropped him like a hot potato, all right? That's all I'm going to tell you. Okay. Continue on. Yeah, pretty much maybe under Mishima, but yeah. Japan is gay. Yeah, Japan is bisexual. Yeah, exactly. Japan is the one country I'm against military rearmament. Yeah. Exactly. I'm turning Japanese. Yeah.
Of imperialism. And when you point out the fact that everybody was heavily industrializing around that time as well, I don't think it's fair to say that the USSR simply grew on the merits of socialism when there were so many other things happening at the time.
I'm gonna argue for what Destiny is gonna say. If Destiny had half a brain, he would say, is that yeah, the Soviet Union did get help from Henry Ford. The factory in Nizhny Novgorod, what used to be known as Gorky, the Gaz Automotive Factory, or
when you're done, I need you.
Oh, jeez. What do you need?
When you're done.
Just tell me.
There's no rush.
Anyway, let's continue on. But yeah, the Gauze factory, of course, which now is a private company, was built by, or at least was organized by, the Ford Motor Company. Same thing as Opel was in Nazi Germany. Same thing happened with Fred Koch, the father of the Koch brothers. He helped Nazi Germany as well as the Soviet Union. All right. So, I mean, look, that's not a complete thing. That's not me saying, oh, well, the Soviet Union completely, no. They had their own merits. They were able to build the T-34s, and they were able to, they had a lot of great folks who made great weapons, from the Pepper-Shah, the PPSH-40, the the PPD, or the Degtyarev, the Dushka, all these great weapons of the Second World War that the Soviets had, the Avtomat Kalashnikova, the AK-47, etc., etc. That was all done by the Soviets. I'm talking about military stuff because that's what I focus on because I'm a spurg. But they did a lot of great shit. But they built it, and they were able to help people as well, And they built great housing under Stalin, But yeah. Destiny is so unsurfable. Yeah, he is.
And when it was outgrown by another economy that was...
Those are the facts. I mean, you play as you want. The fact of the matter is that the Soviet Union's performance in the 20th century completely outshines that of Japan. There's no comparison. Yeah. In 1917, when the Soviet Union begins, it is the poorest country in Europe by far. It then goes to 70 years of a lost World War I, of a civil war, of a...
Okay, hold on. Okay. So, Richard Wolff, you need to explain a little bit more, okay? The thing is that the Soviet Union had to go through different cycles. They had the 5-year plans. They had, barracks communism. They had to do a lot of stuff, and they had to really get folks to buckle down and to be able to fight back. You also had the Kronstadt Rebellion, which I have to say, Finnish Bolshevik did a great video recently about the Kronstadt Rebellion and just how cringe it really was. Something that anarchists like to talk about, but the fact is that a lot of the emigres, the white army folks, came back in through Kronstadt and tried to organize it. So once again, it goes to show how anarchists are cringe. But there were multiple different things, and then you had the Great Patriotic War, and you had the border wars with Japan, and you had the Mongolian wars and everything else, So there's a lot. It's a deeper history, yeah. When you're a neutral country, you go where the money is at, yeah. I'm not defending, it's just an observation, yeah. Or can I read more about Jonestown, MK Ultra? Can't find any references to it. Yeah, war communism. Bolsheviks did not practice barracks communism. Oh, okay, excuse me. Okay. Okay. So hold on. So let me make sure here. I always thought war communism and barracks communism were the same thing. Maybe I was mistaken. So war communism is what it's called? Okay. That's all I wanted to make sure of. Yeah. All right. I'm bugging. Excuse me, folks. I apologize. Yeah. Barracks communism was a term Marx used to criticize the proposal of a Russian socialist. Oh. Okay. I got you. Okay. Excuse me. I haven't read enough. Appreciate it, though, Noji. I appreciate that.
Cultural collective and a World War II, which did more damage in Russia than in any other country. Notwithstanding that it was the poorest country at the beginning of this horrific story, it ends up in 1965 being the #1 competitor of the United States for global hegemony, only because of its #1 status in economic growth that it achieved the overcoming of all those horrific losses. I'm not arguing in favor of this or that about the Soviet Union, but the
this is the thing the most. I'm not arguing this and that about the Soviet Union. Okay, then it goes to show that you're coping. Then it's like then you're just a fucking centrist, in my opinion. Where it's like, well, the Soviet Union did great things, but I'm not arguing this or that. I'm just saying. Now, what the fuck are you saying? Do you support what the Soviet Union accomplished or not? It's a very simple fucking concept. I can appreciate what the Soviet Union did for the Russian people and for the various peoples that were under the Soviet Union, they accomplished a lot. And I appreciate them for what they did, you know? But yeah, that type of shit angers me far more than the arguments, you know? Is this sort of backpedaling, like, I'm not arguing this and that. Then what are you saying?
Of its achievement is a staggering reality that you can dance around from here to tomorrow, but it doesn't go away because it's inconvenient to confront it. And the same thing is true now. If you read
But
Pearl
Wolff did
Brothers
this?
novels about China
Yes, but
before
Wolff
the
did this.
revolution,
Oh, okay.
you will hear about a society whose depth of poverty literally blows your mind. Are about to surpass the United States before the end of this decade. And that was accomplished by a communist revolution and a government run by a communist party to this day. And yeah, for sure, they cleverly opened their society up to capitalists to come and
May have
join
used
them.
very communist
But to
describe early USSR, albeit on
imagine
the
that
line of the
achievement
USSR
of
being
the
totally. Oh, okay.
Chinese economy
Okay.
is purely due to the private capitalists rather than to the state economy. That's making believe because
Google
you
got
need to have
Monzo
an
from
argument
removing
that
stuff.
puts
Oh,
the
shit.
success, the credit of one or the other, the infrastructure, the training of the mass of people. Everything that happened in China is as much a product of the plan and policies of the communist government than of any other factor. And that has to be recognized as well. And none of this is an endorsement. That society has strengths and weaknesses. It has things we can criticize.
None of this is
But
an
we can't make
endorsement.
it up.
Oh, boy.
That has to be inconvenient to face.
Sorry,
the
buddy.
successes
Hold on, hold on.
they've had and continue.
Give me a moment.
Okay, so I'm not
Society has
saying that the
weaknesses.
USSR did not grow a lot. Obviously, the USSR grew
Gave
massively.
3
Your
definitions
claim
of
is not
and
that
3
the
examples of them.
USSR
Soch
grew.
dem. Oh,
That's not
okay.
what we're arguing.
And it's co-op
It's
like.
whether or
Oh,
not
okay.
the USSR grew at the rate that it did due to socialism. A country that was heavily involved in multiple famines, a country that heavily went
Oh,
from
I can
little
do that. Oh, okay. Is
industrialization
that
to
how
a
it
lot
works?
of
Okay.
industrialization, and a country that engaged in a lot of imperialistic practices
Okay.
is a country that grew massively in the 20th century. To say that all their growth, or even the majority
he's
of their
getting wrecked
growth,
in that
was
debate.
due to
Okay.
the organization of their economy
Oh,
and
damn.
not due to factors that were independent of that organization.
Google
To say
moderator team.
otherwise,
Oh,
that they
man. They're
wouldn't have grown,
coping.
maybe at an even faster rate
Damn.
had they been a capitalist economy, there would have to be some evidence provided for that. And I don't believe that that's
That's
ever
gay.
been adequately demonstrated. On the contrary, I believe some
There we
people
go.
argued that that Russia
Okay.
could have potentially
There we go.
grown,
I can
the USSR could have
go ahead and
potentially
do
grown
that.
even faster
Okay.
had it.
Hold on. I'm sorry about that, folks. Let me go ahead and do that at least. I don't know if that helps anything, but you can go ahead and type it from there. I'll leave it up for a minute. Sorry about that. Yeah. You'll see what I meant later in the debate. Okay. Okay. Co-part Google Maps. Yeah. All right. So I'll leave that up there. That way, yeah. So I'll go ahead and leave that up there for a moment. Yeah. CIA in the comments. Yeah. Are they blocking all links? I don't know. I don't know. I'll go ahead and leave that one up though for a minute. That way y'all can go ahead and see it. Do y'all see that? I just want to make sure here. Yeah. Do you have, did the link have ads or something? I linked something during Anaka's stream and didn't get deleted. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. They're deleting all links. Cringe Google. Yeah. I use Maxon. Okay. That's gay. All right. Well, I'm sorry about that, folks. Okay. But does everyone see it? Well, hold on. Let me go ahead and take a look here. I'll be a boomer. Boomer. Okay, I do see the link. Okay, good deal. Okay. Let me see here. Does this link work? Let me make sure. Does this link work? Lennon birthday. Okay, yeah. We'll go ahead and do this just as a... There you go. Neat. All right. That's a little... Okay, good deal. Good deal. Okay, I linked the video of BRT on Dr. Phil during Paul Moran's recent stream and it got deleted. Oh, gay. That's gay. That's too bad. What we got here? Progress. Yeah. There we go. That works. Let me see what we got. Yeah, new hip hop, his shit, except for MF Doom. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, that's a good point. Let me see what else we got. Markets are already being phased out by monopolistic. Yeah, that's true. Sorry about that. I'm just a spurg. Anything else good here? Dementia suffer after leaned scam contract Jewish partisans. Okay. Okay, nothing else. Okay, I just want to make sure. All right. Dr. Phil kind of looks like Lukashenko. He does kind of. Yeah. Lukashenko. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Shall we get back to it, everybody? Yeah. Let's go ahead and get back to it. All right. I'll go ahead and stop sharing that link. Okay. There we go. Well, that's gay. Okay.
To abandon some of its more outdated forms of trying to manage their economy. When we bring up China, China has grown a lot under certain socialist policies for sure. When we look at China in the 80s and 90s, China began opening itself up to massive growth when it comes to foreign investment. China is the number 2 country in the world that allows for foreign direct investment. And the whole thing of all of China's state-owned. Yes.
So the thing is, once again, as he said, it's state-owned. China is very picky about who it works with, though, generally speaking, I think, and they do, wield a lot of control. So, go ahead.
These state-owned enterprises into a select few industries, and then the massive opening investment into that country to give other people more control over privately owned businesses has been what has caused the massive explosion that we've seen of China in terms of pulling people out of global poverty. You mentioned in the video that you did for the Gravel Institute. You attribute that to socialist policies, but the thing that really pulled China into the 21st century in terms of economic success was the opening itself up to foreign direct investment, was the opening itself up to other economies being able to interact.
Is Destiny Dang Gang? Is Destiny part of Dang Gang? Let me go ahead and check the chat. Is Destiny part of Dang Gang? Yeah.
I think this Saturday is Lemonade Day.
Yeah. You sound closeted. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. 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 That's a good point. You have a good point, Libs. Yeah. I probably won't do that anymore. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Correct, though. Yeah. Even prior to reform opening up, the Chinese economy still had stable growth. Brought in by the reforms boosted the economic growth. And Destiny is mop and pill. Yeah, exactly.
With them more liberal trade policies. These aren't people-owned businesses. These aren't businesses that are ran by the workers. These are, I mean, if anything, China is a government that runs the business itself. It's a state capitalist. I mean, more so than any type of socialist or communist economy. To say that a single party regime is.
Should we ban the word state capitalist? I think I'm tired of hearing state capitalist. Can we just admit that? I'm so tired of it. Yeah. I know it's Burger Slang. It doesn't matter. We like yeah. Burger King. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just so tired of that term state capitalism. It's just so overused and just doesn't mean anything. Well, state capitalist. It's just like, it's like throwing a blunt knife at somebody. State capitalist. It's just like, what was that supposed to do? That's what state capitalist means to me. I don't know. It's just, ridiculous. Yeah, we should ban that word. Dang is destiny.
Is having the workers themselves making decisions over how any individual business is running. I don't think it's fair to say. I guess one real quick, just finishing.
Your understanding of China, though, is really badly flawed.
Can I finish this? The thing that confuses me the most, and the thing that frustrates me the most, I guess, when I have discussions with socialists, is socialism feels like this very ever transforming idea of what it actually is, such that I don't even know why we use the word anymore. So I'm very glad that you've acknowledged that Marx, through his theory value analysis, was absolutely flawed and was an absolute failure. I'm glad that you've acknowledged that.
Oh my gosh, how disingenuous can you be, huh? Yeah. You can't be gay and marry off yourself soft there, yeah. State capitalism is an actual thing, though, but libs do overuse it. Yeah, that's fair. No, state capitalism does have meaning. The NEP was state capitalism. Various reactionary states practice state capitalism. Fair enough. All right. DMC, yeah, PMC bitboys, yeah. Jerry Mouse dances with Gene Kelly, yeah. Urban phenotype, very much so, yeah. That's fair. All right. I know, it just gets overused. All right.
Acknowledge you're making this stuff up. I've never acknowledged anything of the sort.
Okay, well,
I don't even know where you get this.
Well, you just said that we shouldn't hold ourselves captive to the thinking of thinkers in the 19th century in terms of
destiny is just bad faith. We all know it. Everybody knows it. It's like the thing is that people are hypocrites in this way, where it's like everybody wanted to be happy because it's like, haha, I'm gonna do the Vox thing, so just be careful. But can't, Destiny debated, the far right, and he won, he beat them. Haha, your ideas have no power here. But then when he goes to lefties, it's suddenly like, oh, why is Destiny doing that? I thought he was a progressive like us. And you just look like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, bruh, he's doing the same shit that he did back then. But now you're just coping about it because he's attacking people that you like. You know what I'm saying? It's just Does Destiny not know everything changes over time? Absolutely, yeah. Marcus' theory of value analysis, so true. Stephen Bunnell II. Exactly. The fact that Radlips conflate state socialism with state capitalism should not remove the meaning of state capitalism. Fair enough. All right.
What socialism is, so I assume you evolved your...
No, I didn't do that at all. I told you that socialism has a variety of theories within it. It's a broad tradition. In the 150 years since Marx wrote, his ideas have moved into every country on this earth at different levels of economic and cultural.
Okay. I want to say this, though. And I think it's important because a lot of these older honkies, including people like Michael Parenti, and I know you can like Parenti, and, we're all Parenti gang here. We're going to read some more Parenti here pretty soon. But the thing is that, even people like, this is kind of in conflict with people like Kwame Ture. Kwame Ture, feel as you want to about him, said that socialism was not invented by Marx. Marx simply observed socialism, which is true. Socialism, arguably you can say existed with indigenous cultures and things like that. It's just that Marx organized it and codified it. Same thing with Engels, same thing with Lenin, same thing with Stalin. These are folks that codified the idea of what socialism is in their views. But the thing is, socialism existed beforehand. So this is why people kind of go at the idea that, oh, well, Marx is this. Well, Marx was just some European but I'm just saying that it's not the point. Yeah. Changes the phase of man. Yeah. Changes. Yeah.
And political life, and of course those different people, something valuable, but they all made their own interpretations. This is a rich, diverse tradition. It's as if you're going to decide what it is I need.
So he basically said it for me, but yeah.
I say these things. I never said that the Marxist theory isn't valuable, that the labor theory of value doesn't apply. If you read any of the books,
Italians are POC.
I've pumped out in my life, you know.
Other socialists fully developed theory around time of man.
And I want to say, wait a minute. I want to correct something about China because you keep repeating it. You know why private enterprise and private capital flows into China in the 80s and 90s? Because China transformed itself from a place where nobody wanted to invest to a place like now where everybody does. Capitalist enterprise.
Dang gang. That's all it needs to be said. Dang gang. Go ahead.
Enterprises went there because they had a well-educated, disciplined labor force at very low wages, because they had built an extraordinary infrastructure, because you had a growing level of income for people to buy things. That's why General Motors produces and sells more cars in China than it does in the United States. The reason private capital went there was because they had, before the arrival, created the institutions. Every other part of the so-called third world, Asia, Africa, Latin America, who had received since the Second World War massive amounts of foreign aid, were desperately trying to do what the Chinese were doing, namely develop their countries so that foreign private investment would come. China didn't get any foreign aid because they were communists, and the United States didn't give them any.
Okay. I'm going to have to push back on that. China got foreign aid from the Soviet Union. So let's slow your roll on that. Number one. Number two, I would argue is that China was arguably, apart from, the post Qing Dynasty era, up through the Maoist victory, or the victory of Mao in 1949, China was an imperialist power that people wanted to trade with. This is kind of more of a Captain Cool 07 point, but I do think it's true. China was always an imperial power and had strength. So I don't really get this whole thing where it's just like, oh well, no one wanted to trade with China. People wanted to trade with China beforehand, and the thing is that places like Shandong, excuse me, not Shandong. Shandong is a province. I'm trying to think of it now. I'm trying to think of the city. Qingdao. That's it. Qingdao. You study about Qingdao, Qingdao, or Tsingtao, as it's known in Cantonese. Famous for its beer, right? Because it was a German colony, or because it was controlled by the Germans, right? Russians, the Germans, Americans, French. They all had little areas of control on China's east coast. So to say that, oh well, China didn't get any foreign aid because Mogulionism. Also, too, the United States did make deals with both the Kuomintang as well as Mao Zedong, as well as the Communist Party of China. So this is that's my view anyway. Yeah, average North Italy fan versus South Italy. Yeah, enjoyer. Yeah, damn, I got to do that Hitler of German fate stream soon. Oh yeah, and China has had several regions that acted as trade hubs before the revolution. Exactly. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's just that people oversimplified things, and the folks that really push for China now, it's just like, bruh, China has always been a fairly strong country because it has such a large area, and because they have a very strong diaspora. You go throughout Asian communities in general. You go to Vietnam, and they have these strong, Chinese expat communities. So, like I say, to simplify things, just like, I don't like that. That's my opinion. Yeah, I think they're talking about postmodern society. So, fair enough. Okay.
But they did a better job than all the countries who did get it in order to get to the point of economic development where it became interesting for capitalists in Japan and Europe to go there. You need to pretend, for reasons I do not understand, that all of the things I've just described didn't happen, that somehow they don't deserve the credit. Look, in the world of economics, perhaps we do exactly what you just said we oughtn't to do. We look at societies and say they have a capitalist economic system to do, and they have a socialist system with the different meanings of that term, and how did they do? And then we say they're different, and part of the story is the different system. And if I say to you that the socialist tradition has multiple interpretations, let me assure you that the capitalist tradition does as well. The leaders of Saudi Arabia right now call themselves capitalists.
Can I ask you, when you say socialist, what do you mean when you say socialist then? I'm trying to understand what this means. Can you give me like a cohesive, coherent?
That's good. Let me answer. There are a variety. I'll give you three basic strains right now.
All right.
They don't exhaust it, but they'll enable us to have a conversation.
All right.
One strain, you leave enterprises in the hands of private capitalists, but you recognize that capitalist system is so flawed, for example, in terms of inequality, in terms of business cycle instability, that you give a role to the government of massive intervention, rules, regulations, laws. Let me give you some examples. In France, it's the law that once you begin working after graduating from high school or college, every employer has to give you 5 weeks of paid vacation from the beginning. Nothing like that exists in the United States. But this is a society that won that for its people, by the way, by socialists who did that, and put that on the books, as it is on most European.
Who's that chick in the background? Is he smashing the chick back there? hold on. I'm so worried about this. Does Destiny have a chick in the background that he's smashing? Is he smashing somebody? I'm sorry. Mussolini was a black trans. What's going on, Anne Marie? How are you? You doing all right? Tanky gang, yeah. Eliminate homosexuality and fascism disappears. Maximum Gorky, yeah. I don't agree with yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't agree with that. Yeah, George Bot. Yeah. CIA, we are only joking. Oh, of course. Yeah, it's all good. I mean, I think it's just ridiculous. Is he? Hold on. Who's that chick in the background though? Is he?
Countries and
He got
socialists do that because they believe for them that socialism is when the government comes in.
Okay. Notice that he uses France. The thing is that France, you know, I know that my man, the Chacarist, I know you know, you live in France. So I mean, like I say, I know it's complicated because I know that you have those LSC l'écoles, and excuse-moi, you know, mon français isn't that great, but you know, the thing is, I know that the LSC l'école, they are some of the schools that French business owners really go for. Yeah. Maxim Gamer. Yeah. That's his girlfriend. Can't believe even Destiny has a girlfriend. Not gonna lie. Yeah. Vosh broke up with his girlfriend. Oh, yeah. I heard about that. He broke up with her, but they still live in the same house. I thought Vosh was making like $500,000 a year. It's like, man, even Seattle, you can't get something, you know, damn. It's easy to get girls when you're confident and loaded. True. I'm doing good right now. I'm just chilling after work. Oh, that's good. We're just chilling as well. We're just vibing.
And regulates. That's one kind. Here's a second kind. This second kind of socialist, they don't believe it works real well if you do that. They want the government to come in and actually operate enterprises, not merely regulate them with rules and laws.
Okay, so the first one is basically what he's talking about is market socialism, and he gives the example of France. Is that right? And you know, he didn't want to give the example of, for example, Yugoslavia. I mean, that's fine. I'm just saying, okay.
Then there's a third kind, which I stressed a few moments ago, which is not about.
And the second kind is more like the Soviet Union, where the Soviet Union state controlled those things. Okay.
Government doesn't care all that much whether the government runs an enterprise or the private does. They can figure out whichever one works better. Let's be real practical. But for them, what socialism means is the transformation of the everyday life of people. No longer do you go to work with other.
Let me see here what we're talking about. Tanky gang, yeah. Yeah. Fosh's partner can't be called a woman. Yeah. 14-year-old.
People telling you what to do, what machine to use, what raw material to work on. And at the end of the day, you go home and you've got nothing more to say about what you poured your brains and muscles into. No. For these socialists like me, the crucial thing is to reorganize the workplace, to bring real democracy. Can you believe it? To the place that we work. In a country that claims to be democratic, we don't have democracy in the workplace. We have a tiny group of people telling the majority what to do, fully on a
tiny group of people. Ooh, be careful with that. Be careful with that. Like I say, I know that a lot of bread tubers use that as an unironic argument, though. Why do you use this term like small group? It's like it's the same thing when Caleb Maupin says bankers. People get so upset about that and they shit their pants over it. Like, oh, they're talking about anti-Semitism. It's a dog whistle. Woo, woo. It's just, you know, it just goes to show how sad these folks are.
Majority. You know, if
first
we
kind
really
of social democracy. Okay.
This kind of socialism argument.
Let me see what we got here. Okay. First kind is social democracy. Second kind of state socialism is cooperativism and market socialism. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah. France is not market socialist. It's a suck-damn country. However, we're more closer to neolib capitalism. Yeah, that's kind of what I figure. I think that, yeah. He described Yugoslavia as being a partial attempt at a third kind of socialism. Oh, okay. Okay, well, I was a little bit mistaken there. All right. Thank you very much, though, Noji's dead. I appreciate that.
Use recognize that that's where adults spend most of their adult life, at work. And if you really believe in democracy, it should have been installed installed in the world. But capitalism doesn't permit that. The folks at the top want to keep the power to keep their inordinate wealth, even at the expense of no democracy and of a growth record inferior to what Russia did in the 20th century and what China is doing now. An enormous price to pay.
Okay, so if you want to talk about the 2 and 3 definitions of socialism, that would be interesting to me.
He described, okay, sorry. I just want to make sure.
But I only heard 2 definitions of socialism here. Number 1 is just capitalism. I don't know when this, like...
Yeah, okay, sorry. There we go. Did I not do that? Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, sorry. French socialists are Blairites too. Oh, okay. That's too bad. Yeah, Tito lives on red tube. Yeah, exactly.
Redefining happened of taking capitalism plus government intervention and calling it. Wait. Right? Okay. I don't know why.
He's about to go off. I tell you, if this was live, I'm sure Richard Wolff would be punching this dude out right now. Oh my goodness.
Was the case state intervention into private markets to have some form of regulation or some form of socialized healthcare or giving workers 5 weeks off became socialism. It's clearly not socialism. It's so not socialism that I think Marx himself even said that the state would be heavily required in maintaining capitalism, more so than I guess even Marx was able to foresee, because he did a revolution of the proletariat in his lifetime. The idea that the state intervening and providing some sort of social welfare or safety net is that's just strictly a capitalist system with some government intervention. If we want to talk about the concept of the government owning and operating enterprises, or
oh man, let's see here. Most social democratic parties are effectively social liberals at this point, with their embrace of the third way. True.
Ideas that the workers themselves have some like worker managed thing. I would be interested in discussing either of those 2 options, as I believe all 5 questions I laid out initially. But for number 1, I wholly reject that as a form of as a form of socialism. If you believe it is, I'd be curious if you can tell me what is the difference between the first thing you laid out and any capitalist acknowledges that some level of government intervention is necessary in keeping the economy going.
I'd be glad to explain it to you. The history of socialism gets going in the middle of the 19th century. And at that time, socialists began to argue that capitalism was over, capitalism was done, and a better system was available, should be pursued. And they had a whole bunch of ideas about that. They were a relatively small group. If you know the history
social
of Marx
democracy,
and Marxism,
okay.
It begins relatively small. As the 19th century progresses, it gets larger and larger. And guess what happens when that movement gets larger? Debates begin to happen as to what in the world capitalism is and what in the world socialism is. And here we go. Some of the people decided that socialism as a radically alternative system wasn't in the cards, could never happen in some views, could only happen in future. Well, what then did socialists do in the meanwhile before a real change of system happened? Answer: advocate for government to be taken over by universal suffrage. The mass of people would institute a socialism that was, if you like, a step in an early socialism, if you like. And by the way, there were big debates, pro and con, within the socialist movement about this. But they settled to understand, let's call it one kind of socialism. And that's what you have in Western Europe, in Scandinavia, to this day. Socialist parties advocate that, and the people in that society often vote those folks into power. I'll give you an example. The government of Portugal right now, a perfect example, European country. The government of Portugal is a coalition of 3 political parties. The largest is the Portuguese Socialist Party. The second one is the Portuguese Communist Party. And the third one is the Portuguese Green Party. They were elected as a coalition government in 2016. They were elected last year. Parenthetically, if your audience members don't know about this, that's because you live in a society that doesn't tell you about this, even though it's public knowledge to anyone interested in finding out. Those parties push a socialist agenda by which they government rules and regulations. You may not like to call it socialists, but the people involved, and millions of them around the world, do. The other kind of socialism broke away from this first kind in the aftermath of the Soviet Revolution. They were giving that extra step. Socialism for them meant that the government should take over and operate enterprises, at least the industrial ones, maybe later the agricultural ones. And to underscore their distinction from the other socialists who just wanted government rules, regulations, and controls, they gave themselves the name communist. And that's the only difference between them, and it has been that way for a century now, since the Russian Revolution. And then there's this third one, which has to do with transforming the workplace. Those are all socialisms. They argue, they debate, they have a rich literature. We have lots of empirical examples of all three kinds in the world. And if people want to think about how they work and what kind of society they produce, there's loads of evidence there. We don't have to hypothesize or pretend or demonize either, because really it doesn't lend itself to that if you're serious.
Okay. First of all, just because a government calls itself socialist, I don't think that that's adequate to define said government as socialist. Do you
Good.
agree
Give
with that?
another. Fine. You can have another. That's what the debate is about.
Let's
Make
hold
up
on
your
one second.
definition.
Well, do you,
Yeah, okay, so we have to give Destiny a chance to speak as well, because you,
Yeah, wait, well,
you
so my
often have
question would be, like, in terms
opportunities
of,
to
like-
give.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I guess would you consider it a Nazi party? Would you consider that a socialist party, as they have socialism in the name? It doesn't seem like a good.
No, but
Why not?
The minute you know anything about the Nazi Party, you'd understand that. That
Would you say that is Portugal a socialist economy, or do they have markets? Do they have private investment?
market has nothing to do with socialism.
Okay, can you tell me what is your definition of capitalism then? I just, because when I ask you what is socialism to you, I'm like, I understand that you can talk a lot. You can tell me what other people have considered socialism to be, but under your current definitions, for
No, I
instance,
gave
the
you my
Democratic-
definition.
No, you haven't given me your definition. You've told me what other thinkers and what other countries in the past. Your definition is not what Portugal does, or it's not what the Portuguese Socialist or Communist parties. You're giving me what other people or other thinkers have thought what socialism is.
Oh, I
Because
told
under
you.
your current definition, number one, the Democratic Party in the United States would be considered a socialist party because they're in favor of heavy government intervention in terms of climate change or healthcare. And I don't know if you would agree. Would you agree that the Democratic United States of America is a socialist party, or if they
No.
rebranded themselves? Okay, so it's clear then that the naming mechanism alone isn't enough for you, because the Nazi Party obviously called themselves socialist. Many people, me included, would consider themselves socialist. And it's obvious that there must be some outside definition that you're alluding to, that when you call something socialist. So I'm trying to figure out what can you tell me, what is capitalism to you? What does it mean when an economy or a society is a capitalist economy? What does that mean to you?
Well, let me answer. I gave you three definitions of socialism. I told you they weren't the only three. This is a debate that's been going on inside socialism, and it's perfectly reasonable for me to give you those three. It might be nice for you if there was one you could cling to, but that's not the way it is. The tradition is too big, too broad, too global for their need.
All right, we're back.
As there
We're
is
back.
in most interesting things in the world,
Okay.
and certainly in many large organizations and large traditions. I did give you my own. My own is focused on the transformation of the workplace. It's more interested in the micro transformation than in the macro, and particularly
Nothing of political history,
skeptical
yeah.
about the power of the government as having had some bad consequences. I want to learn from these early socialism so that the future revolts against capitalism will have a better outcome than the ones that we've already had.
What is
achieved
capitalism?
let me finish. They achieved many things we want to hold on to, and they made some mistakes we want to avoid. And that's exactly what it means to learn from the past. Now let me address the question of capitalism. Here's what capitalism is not distinguished by, and therefore is not useful as a definition. Markets. Slavery it's a different economic system.
Yeah.
Feudalism had markets for
Yes,
much
you
of
should
its
stick to
history. That's not a
StarCraft. Yeah,
definition
exactly.
of capitalism that's unique. Capitalism doesn't uniquely have markets. That's silly.
You gotta
Free
go.
or
See you later.
controlled markets, which is all we've ever had in the world.
The state didn't own the
controlled kind,
agricultural
are
sector,
as old as Plato and Aristotle, who argued over markets. By the way, both of them opposed markets and thought they were socially destructive institutions. Just for as a footnote, you might be interested. But capitalism is unique in one way. It's not a system that's unique in its markets. It's not a system that's unique in quote unquote free enterprises. Those are as old as Methuselah. But here is what's unique. Earlier systems, for example, slavery, organized the production of goods and services around a dichotomy, a slave and a master. The master owned all the equipment.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that Nas song, isn't it? They say, well, I'm not going to, don't worry, I'm not going to say the N word, but it's like, what you looking for? You the slave and the master. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. That's a good song, though.
All the means of production, and including the worker himself and herself. He owned them. And that was a very unusual way of organizing things.
See you later, American dissident. See you later.
Did it have markets? Often. Did it sometimes exist without markets? You bet. Then there's feudalism, radically different. No master, no slave. Nobody's anybody else's property. But you know how that works? You have a small group of lords at the top and a mass of serfs at the bottom. And the way the system works is that the serfs swear loyalty to the lord, and the lord turns to the serf, and the whole thing is sanctified in Europe by the Catholic Church. And then let me finish.
The thing is, hold on. It's not just the Catholic Church, so let's be honest. Is that in Germany, you did have the Protestant Church as well, you know, with the Reformation and all that as well. But, and then, of course, in England, you have the Anglican Church. And, you know, that's kind of cringe. Well, it's kind of cringe, but yeah, anyway.
Capitalism. It's not a master and a slave.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not a lord and a serf. It's a completely different arrangement. It's a contract. It's an employer and an employee. They don't swear anything to one another, and neither owns the other.
Orthodox Church in Russia. Yeah, that too.
They enter into a contract in which the employer says, I'm going to give you wage at the end of the week. You're going to give me your brains and muscles for these hours of these days, and that's a deal we're going to make, and that's organized production. That's the distinction of capitalism. That's what I mean by capitalism.
Hold on.
Giving me a definition of capitalism at all. You've told me a bunch of things that capitalism isn't, and then you've given me a bunch of random collected facts of history, but none of these things.
Not at all.
Absolutely. When you talk about how markets aren't unique to capitalism, that's great. Worker management isn't unique to socialism. Worker management can exist under a capitalist system right now. I know that you like to talk about Mondragon.
Wait, let Destiny finish. Let Destiny finish. We're going to go one at a time here, okay? So let Destiny finish and then we'll continue.
When we talk about worker management,
he's about to lose it. Dr. Wolff about to lose it.
What do you? Okay, well, what are you
Stop
saying
the cringe,
then?
Yes. Yeah, Anglican Church is the most cringe one because it has the word Anglo in it. Yeah, that's true.
Sure. He's answered within the last 50 years without going back into feudalism or what the Pope said or the schism of the Catholic Church. I want to know very concretely, without moralizing or loading anything, or without talking about having an 1850, what is capitalism to you? Can you just tell me or explain what capitalism is? Because it sounds go ahead.
Any definition of anything is the process of separating it from that which it is not. That's all any definition ever was.
But we don't typically do definition.
The thing is, the definitions argument. I mean, this is something that hold on. Let me go ahead and show my loyalty right quick. Hold on. Let me go ahead and do it in the chat right quick here. Let me see here. Let's see here. SUN. And then Gorilla. There we go. Let's just show my loyalty. There we go. Whoops. Now that works. Okay. There we go. I'll go ahead and there we go. There's my loyalty right there. But the thing is that this is something that infrared has talked about. That has talked about, where it's like, they always want these specified definitions and all this, and this is something that I think will be one of their many downfalls. It's like, oh yeah, can you give me the definition of that? It's like, we don't care about definitions. They're ridiculous.
By naming every
okay, let him answer. Let him answer.
Find a dog differentiated from a cat. Otherwise, there's no way to do it. To differentiate and to give a definition of capitalism, you have to distinguish it from that which it is not. Those other systems didn't use an employer-employee relationship. That is the core distinguishing quality of capitalism. Slavery doesn't have that. Feudalism doesn't have that. And I never used the phrase worker management. Managers are not what we're talking about. Owning and operating. If you want to use a word, it's workers as their own boss, workers as their own board of directors. If you like, you can use the colloquialism in the United States that has existed throughout our history. A work co-op, a cooperative, one worker, one vote, all decisions, majority vote. That doesn't exist in capitalism. That exists in a different relationship.
Okay, hold on. You say that they exist in America, and then you're like, but it doesn't exist in capitalism, huh? My dude, what system is the U.S. under? You just undid your whole point. Okay, go ahead.
The people at the workplace, not slavery,
asking for very generous,
and not employer,
vast amount of
employee, because those are different people in each of those systems. Worker co-op, that's no longer the case. That's why it's a radically different socialist system, unlike any of the others.
How can you say that that's unlike any of the others when co-ops can exist today under capitalist economies?
Slavery can exist and did in our
You're
country.
not answering my question.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want you to give me the negative of everything I'm saying. You're saying today that this is a unique thing that exists.
There's never been a problem in any society of which we have historical record for different class structures, different systems to coexist. You're asking me a question as if it were, is this possible? It's never been anything other than the norm.
But you're telling me that in your society, or I could be wrong, you can correct me, but it sounds like in your society, you would exclusively like firms to be in the hands of workers, which would necessarily preclude.
Not at all.
Right.
I've never written that. I've never said it. You're just attributing things to me.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying.
Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm trying very hard to understand what you're saying, but the problem is your answers are very long-winded. You're not really answering my question. So am I to understand then that you are in favor of a society where workers have the option to vote on and have control over the workplace, but there's also room for private investment and the government intervenes in things like healthcare or education? Is this like the type of society you're aiming for?
My guess would be that the transition from capitalism to what we're talking about
No. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Answer his question. You're not answering my question. Exactly. Answer his question. You're not answering my question.
Oh, you don't have it in anything like the way I want it.
Well, how do you want it? What's different from your vision than what we have?
How do you want it? How do you feel? Coming up in the cash game, living in the cash game, for real. How do you want it, girl? How do you feel? Sorry, that's a good song. I just wanted to say that.
Today.
Well, what we have today is predominantly capitalist with smatterings of the other. I'm interested in having predominantly socialist with smatterings of the other.
And without
smattering.
And without
a smattering.
Private investment or disallowing individual
private
owners. How do you get
Okay. Yeah, stream cut out for a second. Oh, okay. Damn. Okay. Sorry. How do you want it? How do you feel? Coming up in the cash game, living in the fast game, for real. Yeah. I agree. I'm going to go ahead and cut it to the end, and then we'll do some Parenti reading. How about that? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, it's fine, though. No problem, Poppy.
Most of the time of the pandemic, Trump here, Bolsonaro.
Yeah, but I hear you, though. It is boring as fuck.
In Brazil and Modi in India. Mm-hmm. Their performances, these three countries, of these three right-wing, super pro-capitalist leaders are among the worst in the world, more than pretty much every place.
Hold on. Let me go back a little bit and let's
government. There have been far more left-leaning governments in other countries that have failed to respond to the pandemic. You could cross the entirety of Europe for examples of that, if you wish. I think that these two things are totally disassociated from other. I think that it is possible to maintain a capital economy while also having adequate intervention from the government to alleviate the problems that we have with the pandemic, which we're starting to see under Biden. Unfortunately, it's taken a while, but even under Trump, we saw things and whatnot as well.
Wait, let him keep speaking. He still has a minute left.
Oh no, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt him during my answer.
Video related to the bank. Okay, let me go ahead and take a look at that.
Yeah, I would respond in two ways. Number one, the United States has 4% of the world's population and 20% of the world's COVID deaths. For a rich country with a well-developed medical system, that is a systemic failure beyond all words. So for me, yeah, this is a problem of a system that could not prepare itself properly for a pandemic it knows could happen, given the one that we had a century ago, many since that time.
Of course.
And it is likewise a system that was not able to cope very well with what it was prepared for. The second and final thing is I noticed that there are three governments in the world right now: the United States, Brazil, and India. Characterized wing governments for most of the time of the pandemic. Trump here, Bolsonaro in Brazil, and Modi in India. Their performance, these three countries, of these three right-wing, super pro-capitalist leaders are among the worst in the world, more than pretty much every place else. And I think that speaks volumes to what's at stake in making this decision between the pro-capitalist and the pro-socialist.
I mean, just to be clear, the
do you want to respond to that? I'll give a minute.
I mean, like, there are other countries that did worse than the United States, and then probably there are countries that also did.
That's an amazing standard.
Okay, wait. Let him finish.
No.
Just let Destiny finish
That's
his
gay.
response.
Oh
We'll
my
do one more
gosh,
time,
it's so
and then
gay.
we can get a response back. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you want to look at like the deaths per 1 million population, like a lot of countries around the world dropped the ball on this. Some did very well, and some
per 1 million deaths per 1 million. We have 500,000 plus dead in this country. Yeah. Okay, bro.
Ones that did very well are capitalist countries. You know, places like South Korea that have like heavily liberalized their economy are bastions of like capitalist success. They've done very, very well when it comes to tracking and dealing with it.
Okay, there we go.
Australia and New Zealand are capitalist countries, and they also did very well countering this. Places like the United Kingdom that has socialized healthcare that provides education for its citizens, they had a worse deaths per million than the United States.
Oh yeah, this dude.
Again, I'm not saying that like, hooray, capitalism can save us or any of that stuff. I'm just saying that how your country did, I don't think is necessarily reliant on the organization that you have.
Let's go ahead and skip to the end here.
South Korea, and then on the flip side,
the work
is like pulling teeth, isn't it?
No longer overwhelmingly an employee, a drone, told where to sit and what to do with what machine on what occasion, and then at the end of the day is told go home. Happens to what you helped to produce is none of your business. That transforming that into a collective community that democratically decides, so that every worker has two job descriptions: the particular task and your equal participation in running, designing, and organizing the enterprise. That is a liberation of human capability. It is a transformation of life from the bottom up, and represents a kind of socialism, which, were it to be achieved, would be a control on the government so it does what the people need and not get shifted off to other things that sustain the state as against the people. That's a lesson learned from the earlier socialisms that the newer socialisms have incorporated. The mass of people will determine, as capitalism, especially in the United States, declines, whether, when, and how to move forward. But the yearning to do better than we're doing in U.S. capitalism, that's correct. It's now only a question where it'll go.
That's time.
The very fact that this conversation...
All right, this is gay. All right, gay. We're done with that. Okay. Okay, we're done with that. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and watch this short video, and we'll read a short chapter of a Parenti, and then we'll call it good.
your boy Louis Saifir. Look, don't judge me, but I spent the entire day watching Destiny debate socialists on YouTube. If it wasn't Pogan in the morning, it was Dr. Richard Wolff in the evening, and it was just a sad sight. Destiny tried his damnedest to get the simplest questions asked. When in regards to Pogan, he wanted to know some things about the labor theory of value. Who's going to be the first investor? How do you regulate conflict? How do you regulate appropriate levels of violence? How do you expand? Who's the final decision maker? Simple questions that anyone would answer, but he couldn't get an answer to that. Richard Wolff was even worse. Destiny wanted to know he wanted a simple consensus on what Dr. Wolff considers to be socialism, what Dr. Wolff considered to be capitalism. Now, I know of Professor Richard Wolff. He's the professor that made me lose all faith in academia, period. And I know he wasn't going to get a straight answer because it's not in the best interest of Pogan or Richard Wolff to tell you the simplest definitions of socialism possible. I don't have enough time. I don't have the time on my hands to browbeat you on it. Let me just tell you this right now. Socialism is the campaign promises dictators tell so that they could get into power. Once they get into power, everything that they promised becomes arbitrary. All right. Nationalities that are alluded to, they go right out the window as soon as you give that person the power to inflict suffering on people. They're using socialism, the obsession with proxy violence to regulate your personal conflicts. Yeah, that's communism. Communism is the ultimate manifestation of toxic femininity. Communism is toxic femininity plus socialism and fascism.
What is this guy talking about? What is he doing? Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, my brain is somewhat fried here and
it's
had all these complications.
Plus socialism. But if you're a Republican, if you protect the rights of others, you will never be a fascist. Fuck y'all.
What is this guy saying? Oh my gosh, what is he saying?
Biden is
okay. Don't worry, I'm not gonna make y'all watch this. Okay, I think we're gonna go ahead and end it here. I appreciate y'all for listening and riding with me. So I'm gonna go ahead and play an outro song. We'll call it good. Let me see what I'm gonna pick out here. I'm gonna go ahead and do the Parenti clip. All right. Hope y'all enjoyed that. See you later. Goodbye.
The bombings are working. They know what they're doing. Because you don't know what they're doing doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. Of course they know what they're doing. The bombings are achieving what they're supposed to, which is to destroy Yugoslavia, to turn it into a deindustrialized beggar coordination of cheap labor, completely defensive to the interests of capital investors. This is a batter policy. This is a batter is not irrational. The batter is not using violence against his helpless spouse. He uses just a certain amount of level to get a certain response and batters that person down and batters that person down and batters the person. And that's what this is. It's a battering policy to destroy and smash them down, but smash them and splinter them so badly that they will never rise again, that they will never rise again, even as a viable bourgeois nation, even as a socialist nation. The old arguments we hear with regard to Vietnam are coming back. Well, we can't just pull out. Well, we can't just pull out. We can. We can do it with 2 words. We can do it with 2 words. You can pull out with just 2 words. It calls ceasefire, and then another 2 words, NATO disband.